minute. What the hell is going on? So something interesting happened last weekend driving back from Sarasota with my two sons and Vinny. We're at a tournament for one of my sons, soccer tournament. They faced this one team. The moment the coach blew the whistle and they started playing, I'm like, wait a minute. What the hell is going on? We won the first game 5-2. And then I see this team. And I'm sitting next to one of the fathers, the father of number 10, player number 10, and he's recording the whole thing. And I'm seeing not one error being made. And I said, wait a minute, what are you guys doing here? He says, what do you mean? I said, why are you guys this good? He starts laughing. I said, how often do you guys practice a day? He says, oh, we don't practice. I said, what do you mean you don't practice? We train. What the hell is the difference? We train 4 hours a day. You train 4 hours a day? Yes. Okay. How do you do schooling with your kids? He says, oh, every kid that's on this team, their plan is to go to Premier League or play MLS. Who's the coach? Such and such. Who is he? Top 10 all-time scorer in the history of U.S. players. I Googled the name. Damn. Okay, good. How is he trained? Hardcore driving, pushing, challenging kids. I mean, guys, kids are stuck in the corner. Like they could potentially make a mistake and they could get a corner. They don't just kick it out of balance like a typical kid does. He forces you to fight to get out of it. He's telling me, the father's telling me, he says, watch, if they kick it out, you will be running laps and you will not play the rest of the game. I'm like, interesting. So I said, how many hours a day? 4 hours a day. I said, where were you guys ranked? He says, we were ranked last year #1 nationally. Really? Yeah. Obvious, it makes sense. So then we get in a car and we're driving back from Sarasota. They got their asses handed to them. Now we need to have a conversation. So, you know when you got two kids and you're talking to one of them, but you're really talking to both of them, and you kind of want the message to be received by both, and you love all your kids equally. So I'm sitting there saying, here's how life works. We have to make a decision on what you want to do. I said, in life, there's three different types of people. There's those who are interested. There's those that are committed, but then there's those that are obsessed. What do you mean? I said, look, when I was a kid, I was interested in collectible cards. I was interested in baseball. I was interested in basketball. I wasn't committed. I was just interested. First time I went from interested to committed to obsessed was with bodybuilding. I became obsessed. Everything for me was about bodybuilding. Guess what? No one had to tell me to go to the gym. My dad never worked out. My mother never told me to go. I didn't have anybody around me to go to the gym. I was full-blown obsessed after I read a book and I'm like, I want to be Mr. Olympia. Purely obsessive, like annoyingly obsessive, right? So I said, do you think you're interested, committed, or obsessed? My oldest son is obsessed with soccer. I said, if you're obsessed, training the way we're training right now, it's not going to be enough for the next level. We got to put a plan together in place. And then I told my son, the other son, I said, look, you're interested in politics. You're interested in movies. You're interested in all this stuff. Are you committed or obsessed yet? Not yet. What do you mean, Dad? I said, your grandpa always tells me, why don't you ask him to make a movie? I don't want to ask you to make a movie. I don't want to ask you to make YouTube. I want you to do it. I want you to pick up the camera. I want you to pick up and learn how to edit. If you're obsessed, you will do it. If you're just interested, you won't. So this whole conversation isn't about my kids. Why would I put my business out there to everybody? This applies to all of us. Most of us go through life just being interested in being successful and maybe committed to being a good employee, good executive, good business owner. Few people are obsessed. And the people that you see winning at the highest level are trifectas. They're interested, committed, and obsessed. So if you really want to do something big in your life, you're oblivious if you think something special is going to happen by just being interested or by just being committed. You have to eventually get to a point where you experience what it's like to be obsessed, that you can't get that thought out of your head. You're almost annoying to be around. Some of you know what I'm talking about, but most people think those people are annoying. You know what I'm saying? If you're like, oh, that guy's so annoying, because you're not yet obsessed with anything. Or if you're the one that people get annoyed with, you're the one that knows what's obsessed. I've coached a lot of people over the years, and I can tell you, a lot of them acted like they were obsessed. They were not. They were just committed for periods of time. And then they went back to being interested and they got distracted. This is not easy to do. This is very hard, but and life doesn't get easier when you're obsessed anyways. It's more challenging because you can't get something out of your head. Like, I can't until I get this thing done. Anyways, power to the obsessed people. And maybe it's also a message to all the interested and committed people. Be patient with your kids or with your spouse or with somebody that's obsessed. Because, trust me, they can't do anything about it. They're in the obsessed community. It's 24/7 with them. So some